Welcome, my name is Michael Penny and I'm your city manager. This is another edition of Penny for Your Thoughts. I'm here at Intergroup Architects on Littleton Boulevard, and today's topic is going to be Station 19. This was a station that was recently approved by the City Council, and we're going to learn more in depth about what the station is involved with, who our partners are, and how it's going to benefit the City of Littleton. I'm here today with Fire Chief Armstrong and Public Works Director Mark Rolfe. And we're going to be drilling into this station and talking to you about what that is. So we hope you will enjoy this edition of Penny for Your Thoughts. Let's jump into it. Chief Armstrong, the council approved, it was a convoluted version of contracts and different things, but ultimately the council approved a fire station which has multi-use inside the station. So why don't you just give us an overview of what the station is, how you see it operating, the details around that.
So the station was a culmination of a completion of our emergency services master plan, which finished up in 2015, which recommended a station on our southwest border. We did quite a bit of analysis to look at how that station would impact our service delivery across our service area and put together a proposal for council, took it to them early January of 2016, which was approved for us to move forward.
Fantastic. So before we talk about the station, it's not just the City of Littleton that's participating in this station. Who are our partners in moving this forward?
So we have two partners on this moving forward. One of them is Lockheed Martin. Shortly after we completed our master plan, they came to us to explore the possibility of Littleton Fire Rescue providing their emergency services. That could only be done from a station in our southwest corridor. In addition, we struggle a little bit with some of our response times with our fire partners in Littleton Fire Protection District on the west side of our border. And this station would support Station 13 on that west side and help them improve their response time. So Lockheed Martin and Littleton Fire Protection District are the two partners on the station.
So when you say we're contracting with Lockheed Martin to provide services to them, can you explain what's that really mean? What is it we're going to be doing for them?
So currently Lockheed Martin has their own employees that serve as security and fire personnel, and they do it on site. What they're going to be doing is reallocating those individuals into other jobs, and we're giving some of them opportunities to get hired with Littleton Fire Protection or Littleton Fire Rescue. The services that we would provide are the same services we provide any of our fire partners. It's fire and EMS services along with fire prevention, hazardous materials response, and wildland response.
So is Lockheed Martin going to be doing anything on their end related to fire medical on the facility?
So in their facility, they have a employee clinic with a physician. They also have several EMTs that they're going to retain on their site, as well as a fire marshal. They'll continue to do their own fire inspections, and then part of the contract outlined our requirement to train with them on a regular basis.
So since I don't have security, do you have to kill me now that you told me what's on site there?
I do not.
Okay, thank God, good. If it was fire or police chief, then the answer might be different. So what is it that, I want to hear about the station and kind of the layout of the station. Maybe we'll have Mark get into that. But what do you see as the benefits? So the master plan essentially said we needed this station in the southwest section of our service area. How do you see that station and the flowing into the benefits? If I live in Highlands Ranch, or if I live on the east side of Littleton, how am I going to benefit? What am I going to see that's different?
Yeah. So our fire services and EMS services are bolstered really well on the east side of our response area, not so much on the west side. We have enough to handle our incidences, but if we get really busy, we struggle there. And what happens is all of our resources have to flow to the west, which reduces our availability of resources on the east side. By putting this station on the west side, we're going to bolster up our ability to support the west side without drawing those units towards the west. And that will help us protect people in the east and keep our response times in our target area on that side of our response area.
So that makes a lot of sense. And so from a call standpoint, not looking necessarily for number of calls, but what do you see as a percentage of calls that this station will be able to add either into our total capacity or in percentage that it will free up for what you just described?
Yeah, so our calculations are estimating somewhere in the neighborhood of about 30% of the calls that happen on the west side would actually fall within the jurisdiction of that station. We only have Station 13, which is on the west side of Littleton Fire Protection District, and Station 16, which is up near Santa Fe and C470. We run upwards of 100 calls a year in Chatfield State Park, and that's a long response. This station will be right across the street. In addition, we've already provided services to Lockheed Martin. We transport patients out of their facility when they call us, so we anticipate handling somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 calls from them. But in totality, about 30% of the calls on the west side of our district will be handled by
So
our
Chief,
station.
it seems like, you know, in Lockheed Martin coming forward, the Littleton Fire Protection District and kind of the city of Littleton and our own community saying it's time to have Station 19. The stars have come into alignment. I think, folks, we talked about what Lockheed Martin has on site. Give us a little bit more background about Littleton Fire Protection District. What is their area? You know, our mailing address goes all the way to Ken Carl, and having people understand kind of what jurisdiction they're in. And this is another added complexity of government layers in here. So kind of what are the boundaries, and how have you seen them partner with us over the years?
So Littleton Fire Protection District is actually a really unique district, as it's split in half, and the city of Littleton proper sits really right in the middle of it. Okay. So Littleton Fire Protection District on the east side actually has two stations. They have Station 14 and Station 15. On the west side, their boundaries run from about Mineral Avenue up to about Bellevue, and from just a little bit west of Santa Fe to just about Wadsworth. And they only have one station in that area. And that's why we kind of struggle with our response times on the west side. Littleton Fire Protection District understands that they needed to do something. So when you talk about the stars coming into alignment, our master plan identified the need for a station. It was actually several years out, and when Lockheed came and knocked on the door and said, hey, you know, we want you to provide services. We know we've wanted to provide services to our Trailmark citizens for quite a long time. We've done it through a contract with West Metro, and just everything really came into alignment. It helped Lockheed Martin with their service needs. It helped us with our response times, helped Littleton Fire Protection District on the west side as well. So the stars really came into alignment, and now we're able to provide the services to our citizens the way we feel we should be.
So shifting a little bit to Mark. So Chief talked about Lockheed Martin coming on board. That added in some substantial capital dollars along with our Littleton Fire Protection. And our city council a few years ago approved what is called impact fees. So a developer comes in, pays for their kind of investment into our infrastructure. We have several impact fee different areas: police, fire, library, museum, facilities, transportation, I believe are the six. And those funds have been building up, and you can only use them for what they were new capital in whatever those areas are. So in looking at because what we haven't talked about is this is really a multi-use facility. It is not just a fire station, and that's part of why we call it Station 19 and not Fire Station 19. So talk to us a little bit about what is in that facility. We paid a pro rata share out of all those impact fees, and I think it was a great action by the City Council to not take out of our capital fund nor our general fund, but really pay for it from these dedicated revenues that we've received from other developers, kind of development paying their own way. So talk to us about what's in the station and how you saw that station come together.
Well, first, the station's about 7,850 square feet, and so we did look at it from kind of about
7,500.
Actually, yeah, 7,851 to be exact. And so we did look at it kind of a multi-use facility, and so we did recognize that certainly police was going to have a presence out there, so trying to provide some kind of office space for that. We looked at the opportunity here for both Public Works and South Suburban, who provide some of our park services in that area, maybe sharing that at times. And quite honestly, we also looked at it from a larger perspective of just the community Trailmark area, and having some public meetings there from time to time. So as we kind of looked at those different uses and where they might be, we actually kind of allocated the building space according to these different impact fees. And so that's what we presented to City Council, and that's how we're funding this project here for the city share of it.
That's great. So where are we in the design, architectural? When are we going to see a groundbreaking, and when can the sirens start going?
We've got a little bit of time here to kind of finish up a couple of details. We're actually using a contract method that's maybe a little non-traditional from what people might think. What we actually have done here is the council approved a contract where we actually hired a general contractor, construction manager. We've agreed to kind of overhead and profit up front, and then they help us kind of design and value engineer this building. So we work with them, and Intergroup's the local architects here for the project. And so we get to a point where we believe we're close to kind of a final design, and then our contractor actually provides us a guaranteed maximum price. And that's ultimately what the City Council approved here, and that particular contract is $2.2 million to build this. We have a heavy excavation here to kind of stabilize the foundation here. So you'll probably see that, yeah, it's very expansive soil. So we'll have probably a good month or so of kind of dealing with those issues. And then you'll see probably the building itself start to go up here probably late February. And then we hope to be actually done here, probably late summer, early fall.
Fantastic, that sounds great. So see police presence in there, Public Works, South Suburban, and one of the things we didn't hit on is what fire service is actually going to be, what kind of equipment that you have in there, how does it differ from other stations that we've got?
It's not real different from other stations. Of our 8 current stations, we have 5 of them that have a medic unit as well as a fire apparatus in it. We have 3 that just run an engine company. Okay. We're going to do the same thing at Trailmark. We're a little bit unique in our area that we run what we call advanced life support fire engines, which means we have a paramedic on every fire truck, and they have the same medical equipment that a medic unit has. Right. They just don't have the ability to transport. So we felt that the engine company would be the most appropriate type of apparatus to have out there. It keeps our costs down. We don't have the call volume to justify 2 units at the time, but it'll be able to provide a full array of services.
If that call volume goes up, is there an opportunity to add that second unit?
There actually is. Mark and I, as we worked together on designing and laying out the station, we knew that we wanted to build for the future. So we actually included 2 apparatus bays as well as 5 bunk rooms so that we have the ability, even if we're expecting a blizzard, bad storm, if we need to upstaff our emergency services, we have the capacity to put extra units and people there.
Excellent. And this is going to be a 24/7, 365 station.
That's correct, every day of the week.
That's great. So I want to thank both of you for joining me on A Penny for Your Thoughts. You've got a building to go build, and we're excited to see that come up. And we're hoping for late summer more than early fall. That sounds good. And Chief, you've got a lot of operational issues to deal with. You got to go find a bunch of new paramedics and firemen who are going to staff this great new station. And so I want to thank you for taking your time and joining me on this. It's a fantastic project. And for those of you watching, I think the magnitude of this decision by our City Council to approve this station, we'd appreciate a fire station on a 50-year basis. And so this station is going to have positive impacts in our community for decades to come. We're only seeing the initial part of that with this conversation here today. So I hope you appreciate the forward-thinking and long-range vision of our City Council. And to that end, I want to thank our City Council for their leadership and their partnership with Littleton Fire Protection District and Lockheed Martin in moving this station forward. I'd also like to thank Lockheed Martin for their partnership. If you really think about it, a contract like we have with a private entity and a local government is relatively unique, and they initiated that conversation. Here's a multinational corporation that is really looking at the local level of how do we partner together in a way that provides the best services for the lowest cost for everyone involved. And then lastly, we've had a decades-long relationship with Littleton Fire Protection, and this station solidifies that relationship for decades into the future. They have been great partners with us, and we know they will continue to be great partners into the future. So, thank you very much for watching this edition of Penny for Your Thoughts. I appreciate your time, and stay tuned for another edition coming shortly to a station near you.